As the powers of Gunko's Arrow fruit continue to be explained and expounded upon by herself and other characters, it got me to thinking, I wonder, is this fruit a repurposed ability that another character was going to have? So, Road to Laughter Volume 2 tells us that Black Maria, instead of having the Spider Fruit ancient model Rosa Magali Gravigili, she was going to have either the Dragon Fruit model Stegosaurus or the Sash fruit. The Sash fruit, I think, has now been repurposed into being the Arrow fruit, because in 1135, it seems as though Gunko has wrapped a giant up in cloth bandages. She herself seems to be wearing bandages on her mouth and legs, which makes me think, yes, this is a repurposed version of the Sash fruit, because then further on in 1143, it is explained by Saul as he's watching a arrow guide sleeping children out of the war school that yes, the arrow seems to be some sort of white cloth construct. Now, what's weird about this is that I don't know if it's exactly cloth all the time, because in chapter 1137, we see one, that Gonko can make gauntlets and boots out of these constructs, and two, there's some sort of three-dimensional attack she can do in which she uses to skewer the various animals of the underworld with. So it's not really clear what the consistency of the arrow fruits constructs are. But I do think this is a repurposed version of the Sash fruit, seeing as how this is the only devil fruit other than, say, like the garb fruit that's ever been described at making cloth. So thinking about Kinyamon's fruit further, the garb fruit and its ability to make clothes, this further makes me think that Gunko's arrow fruit could be a repurposed idea of what the Sash fruit was going to be, because in chapter 1136, she unravels her coat sleeve, and it appears to be just an arrow that she has generated. So that makes me think, seeing as how it's being generated from her clothes, it could be that she's walking around completely naked except for her boots, hat, and panties. That's what I think, because it seems like the entire coat is just made out of her ability, which is a very interesting thought. So it's not just the bandages around her mouth and legs, but it's the entire coat, presumably. Wild, but continuing. So additionally, I could see this sort of power being useful on Robin, or used to be a sort of antithesis against Robin, because it does spawn in multiple spots like the flower fruit held by Robin, and it does enhance the user's body, much like how Robin can enhance her body with the various applications of the flower fruit. So it does track for this to be a power that a Robin opponent would have. So it does make sense that this was maybe in mind to be Black Maria's ability once upon a time. However, now in the new context of this being the power of a Holy Knight, I'm not sure how far this can actually go. We don't even know if Gunko is an awakened Paramecia yet, and what all she can do, because this power has a ton of different applications. So with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Waxu.